Thus, the proclamation does not comply with the first condition. Furthermore, rebellion is a political offense, not a common crime. The essence of rebellion is ideological motivation, meaning the advocacy that existing government should be destroyed by removing citizen allegiance from it. I respectfully point out that where there is no ideological motivation, there is no rebellion. As explained by a 1995 Supreme Court decision, and I quote, "By its very nature, rebellion is essentially a crime of masses or multitudes involving crowd action which cannot be confined a priori within a predetermined bound. Its gravamen is an armed public uprising." Repeat, its gravamen or its essence is an armed public uprising. One aspect noteworthy in the commission of rebellion is that other acts committed in its pursuance are by law absorbed in the crime itself because they require a political character. Continuing with the decision of the Philippine Supreme Court, quote, "If no political motive is established and proved, the accused should be convicted of the common crime and not of rebellion." In cases of rebellion, motive relates to the act, and mere membership in an organization dedicated to the furtherance of rebellion would not by itself suffice. The crime of rebellion carries a lighter penalty than murder. Thus, it is imperative for our courts to ascertain whether or not the act was done in furtherance of a political end. And please pardon me, but we do not refer to our daily activities here in the legislative branch of government as political in the sense in which it is used here. Political here, in the vocabulary of martial law, means revulsion of the existing government compelled by a system of beliefs in the mind of an individual that it compels him to destroy that government. That is the meaning of political. It is not enough that overt acts of rebellion are proven. Please let me emphasize this quotation from our Supreme Court. Both purpose and overt acts are essential components of the crime. All right, let us assume, for the sake of argument, that what has been shown to us in the slides are overt acts of rebellion. But the language of the Supreme Court is categorical. You have to accompany it with the purpose to destroy the very institution of government in society. So I say again, since I have not heard any ideology aired in any of the three media that has been covering the Mindanao event for almost a month now, no one has ever shown or presented for me to read any statement on ideology by the so-called rebels. I say again, show me the rebellion. The second condition, public safety requires it. The Constitution does not define the term public safety, although it also uses this term to restrict the right to travel. In the light of this lacuna in the law, I humbly submit that the emphasis should be on the public nature of safety. The term public refers to the people of a nation or to a community as a whole. But crimes committed by warlords against each other are basically threats to the safety only of their respective camps. What they constitute are not threats to public safety per se. Dalawang gunggong nag-away sila Bakit sabihin mo ngayon? Napanganib na ngayon iyan sa safety ng publiko. Panganib sila sa isa't isa. What they constitute are not threats to public safety per se, but acts of terrorism, defined by law as the commission of a major crime, quote, thereby sowing and creating a condition of widespread and extraordinary fear and panic among the populace in order to coerce the government to give in to an unlawful demand, unquote. The proclamation, unlike its omission to use the word rebellion, does use the term public safety, but in a way that, out of kindness, I shall call a non sequitur, or a conclusion that does not logically follow from its premise. The proclamation claims that, quote, The local judicial system and other government mechanisms in the province are not functioning, thus endangering public safety, unquote. I am so not understanding this. When government collapses, we call it anomie, A-N-O-M-I-E. We do not call it a threat to public safety in legal terms. Of course, if we don't know, if we don't have any basis or premise for our discussions, anything is possible. My understanding is we are discussing and debating this matter on the basis of law. The Supreme Court is the last resort. In the nature of democracy, party politics will intrude into this debate. If we in the Senate, or at least the majority in the Senate, fail to convince our colleagues in the House, then we are a sinking ship, and we will go down with this political Titanic. But the debate does not end here. It will go on to the Supreme Court. I take the attitude that the legal problem posed by martial law is not civilian control over the military, but judicial control over the executive and legislative branches, delegation of authority to the armed forces. For my part, I do not see martial law as a new order of society in Maguindanao or even the armed. Martial law is the future refusing to be born. I will vote to revoke martial law. Thank you.
House Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker,